All right, let's get started. We're going to bring out the running backs less than 90% rostered. It's available maybe on your waiver wire. We're going to rank them by the ninth week touches. So obviously leading the list here is going to be Montague. He filled in for Swift when he was out, came through some scoring here. Look at that. All those points he got last week. It depends on Swift, right? You know, he was out with this groin injury. How big is the groin injury going to be? But Montague leads the list under 90%. How about Blake Corum? He always seems to be on the list. He, of course, direct backup to Kyron Williams. Williams doing great here. So, hey, Blake Corum's going to get it when he can. But 12, 13 touches, scored, hey, but if he ever gets in there, right, on the one of the better teams, right, he would be one of the tops. But how about this Terrell Jennings filling in for Ramondre Stevenson, right? Of course, they're lit up like a Christmas tree. Stevenson was out with a toe injury. And of course, gave Henderson the run. But hey, this Jennings filled in for 12 touches. Touches are rushing attempts or passing targets. Chris Rodriguez is back. Pops back in here, sharing with Bill here. Bill got some, he didn't score good. Bill got a lot of touches too, but Chris Rodriguez getting 1-for-1 with him this week. So hey, he pops back on the radar with these 12 touches. Nick Chubb's always getting touches, right? Hey, didn't do much with him. Tough game against Denver, though. And Woody Marks didn't fare much better. So, hey, it's back to, just depending on Nick Chubb. If you get an easy game where they're going to be winning and scoring touchdowns, it might be him, right? How about Tajay Spears, right? Tajay Spears got his 10 touches, cooled off a little bit on scoring here. Did good last week. With him and Pollard swapping on a bad team, you just don't know there. How about 10 touches for Tootin? Tootin getting back alive here with those 10 touches. Travis Etienne, of course, led and did great, but hey, Tootin getting back on the board with 10 touches, showing he's healthy. He's the number 2 there. How about Devin Singletary, right? He's back on. He's number 2 for the Giants now after Scatboo. Tyrone Tracy didn't have the best of days, and so Singletary's going to fill in there a little bit too. He come in with his 10 touches. So hey, how about Patterson getting 9? Sharing there with Vidal. Vidal had a kind of a down game, and they ran Patterson 9 touches there a little bit, mixing him in. Gainwell gets back on the board here, right? Hey, he's not scoring too much here lately, made more of a noise earlier, but he's still, stealing touches from this Caleb Johnson. Never get off the launching pad. Warren scored some touchdowns there. Didn't do great on yardage, but he followed through. Manuel Wilson only 7 touches. Josh Jacobs was able to stand through the whole game, scored pretty good there. So Manuel Wilson, he is the backup though, right? So that is the clear backup. The Marshawn Lloyd here, injuries continue. I don't think that he's going to put up anything against him here in the short term. How about Robinson? He gets these touchdowns, right? He got some 5 touching. He's the backup there for the leader there. Christian McCaffrey just keeps powering through it all. And Keaton Mitchell gets in for 5 here. He's been mixing in a little expensive Justin Hill probably. So he's getting in some. And Ty Johnson gets in for 4. Him and Ray Davis are the backup. He's more the passing back, Ty Johnson. And Brashard Smith down here with 3. So there's a look at your touches. Here's here's how they're percentage owned. So hey, 87 on Montague. So hey, might be out there in your league, but Blake Corum only 29% rostered. And this if Ramondre's out again next week, this Jennings would be the fill-in. How about Chubb 74, Spears, Tootin? Singletary here might be 10% owned. Hey, he might be showing up at Patterson 1%. But anyway, that's a look at some of the rostered percentages. Let's take a look at ranking them. All right, Montague coming off those 29 touches last week. Of course, he's going to be ranked number 1 for the next week. Hey, they got the Giants at home, right? So hey, it just depends on Swift, of course. And, Swift's injury for next week. But, hey, Montague is going to be a big part of it coming up. How about Nick Chubb? Hey, he's down a little bit. Didn't score so much this last week. Still got in there with 11 touches. And hey, nice new game next week against home. They're home against Jacksonville. All right. So maybe that good defense will be winning. On Woody Marks, he's still probably a little more attractive, but Nick Chubb's going to get some points here. They're winning it next week against Jacksonville. So don't sleep on Nick Chubb, though he's been down. He's still going to get some action. Maybe good defense there. And of course, if Stroud is out again, hey, they've got him questionable for next week with that concussion. But hey, they'll lean on that running game, won't they? In a game they could win against Jacksonville. So don't sleep on Chubb. He still could be on pretty good there. How about Corum? Blake Corum here. Hey, good team. 13 touches on one of the better teams, right? You still want him. I think got a tough matchup at San Francisco for next week. So that ain't going to be so good. But hey, he's still relevant. And hey, it's way too early to be thinking about playoffs. But hey, towards the end of the season, if they start resting Kyrene a little bit more and pushing Blake Corum, hey, that'd be something there too. How about Tootin? Rootin' Tootin here, Bashville Tootin. Hey, at Houston, going to be a tough week up match for this next week. But, hey, 10 touches. He's going to try to get him back and going. Of course, Travis Etienne popped back up with some good scores there. So, hey, he's still going to be relevant. But, hey, they might start moving the youth, moving to Tootin here before too long. How about Singletary, all right? And Brian Robinson Jr. Singletary, hey, hey, he didn't quite expect it when they signed him as a free agent a few years back, a couple years ago. But with, hey, Scatbo's out, Tyrone Tracy didn't, trip everybody's trigger here. So, Singletary got 10 touches, so maybe he'll get in there. Hey, he's at Chicago, so that won't be such a great game. Hey, and Brian Robinson Jr. here. Look at that. Yeah, he scored big this last week, got a touchdown, 5 touches, but it just, he's there on a good team. Christian McCaffrey, just 100, 200 and sometime, way above in the touches. Will he break down? If he does, it'd be Brian Robinson Jr. getting some good points on a good team here. Hey, let's not sleep on Tank Bigsby. He was off a bye, right? No touches. But hey, he did pretty good in relief last week. So if anything would ever happen to Barkley, right? And he's questionable for week 10. But hey, we want to get all over Tank Bigsby. Don't sleep on him. Forget about him. Now we have to see how big that Barkley. It's probably, we'd have heard more about that if Barkley was out or something. But Tank Bigsby, coming off no things, but he had a good week. And he looked explosive as the backup there. I know he's still got Will Shipley, but he hadn't really done much. And they traded for this Tank Bigsby. So keep him on the radar there, right? How about Emmanuel Wilson here? All right. Hey, he's still the number 2 in town. Now, he didn't do so good last week. Got 7 touches, but Josh Jacobs just keeps rolling. But hey, if Josh Jacobs run into any kind of problem on a good team, you're going to have Emmanuel Wilson's the backup there. Right now, don't be worried about this Marshawn Lloyd. What I've heard is, hey, he's not ready to come back. Injury, they're disappointed in his recovery. So, hey, it's going to be Emmanuel Wilson as the backup there for a while. Right? Jaden Blue and Michael Carter, I guess they go tonight. Coming off. But Jaden Blue here, hey, he is the backup here. Miles Sanders out for the year. So, hey, Phil Moffitt got come off the IR here not lately. So, but anyway, Jaden Blue, we'll see how he does on the Monday night game. And same with Michael Carter here. All right, sharing time with Bam Knight. Well, we'll see which one of them gets the most. It's supposedly the hot hand they're going to go with. Well, Michael Carter, he's still on the team there. And I guess DeMarco here, I guess he's going to play too. So we'll just have to see which one of those come out of there. A couple deep ones here. Only 4 touches for Devin Neal. But, Malvin Kamara, you see it sloping down. Hasn't been doing much. Hey, eventually, I don't know. I imagine they'll play him out just to help the new quarterback Shug here. But Devin Neal's going to be a possible flash up in there when things start going, and they need him here. So how about Patterson here? This Patterson flashing a little bit with his Haskins. Been out. IR's Vidal's kind of losing a little steam this last week. So Jarrett Patterson, 9 touches. Keep him on the thing. Of course, Chris Rodriguez and Isaiah Davis. Isaiah Davis coming off a bye. But, hey, he is the number 2 guy there. And the trade deadline's the 4th. Couple days away. So I don't know if they're going to trade anybody there. A lot of hype, a lot of people could do videos over the trades and stuff, but we'll see. And and then Chris Rodriguez, of course, exploded with these touches, 12 touches. So he's back on the radar. Bill's kind of been slow. Look at these last 4 weeks for Bill here. He hadn't been really. So maybe they wanted to give Chris Rodriguez a little taste there. All right. And Tyrell Jennings here. He had these 12 touches, right? Well, it all comes down to, again, he just scored pretty good on it, right? Well, I guess it all comes down to Ramadre, this toe injury. How bad is he going to be back for next week? Is he going to be, then it's going to go back to them two, and he'd be third on the list as Jennings. So have to keep a close eye on Ramadre, Gainwell, and Pacheco here. So it's a couple more here. Getting down at the bottom, Gainwell. So, and he's been slipping, but he keeps Caleb Johnson in line. And I guess that Brashard Smith, he's been kind of hot and cool. But that's Pacheco. What do I got Pacheco? Brashard Smith. Here, I got him a little lower. Pacheco, of course, was injured. So is he going to be back? How long before he's back? It says inactive. Doesn't say anything about the next week. So you have to keep an eye on him coming back. Tajay Spears. He got 10 touches, but Sharon there on a bad team just doesn't get you anywhere. Anyway, that's a listed sub. Obviously, it's Montague. He's going to be owned by a lot. But hey, let's not sleep on Nick Chubb. Got a nice, easy matchup this next week. Got 2 in a row, I think. 2 easy matchups. Always capable of touchdown. If you got to get somebody on your team and you want some points, Nick Chubb would be here a little longer term with these Corum and Tootin. Just, hey, if an injury would happen, they're going to get their time. All right, let's take a look at this.